Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, YouTube and Facebook. Kristen Ryder here, and we are live today with an amazing guest whom I am so excited to introduce you to. Before we get into that, I have a few announcements. Well, here we are doing this live. And then tomorrow at 12:30, I've got my live pop-up tarot on YouTube and Facebook. Come with your questions and your Venmo, please. And then on Saturday, this coming Saturday from 11 to 1, I've got the icosahedron activation for my Platonic Sound program. And y'all, we are doing some amazing work in this program. And I'm going to announce right now that we are going to be doing that program again come late January 2025. I got to get my calendar out. I'm my own secretary, one woman, everything. So thank you so much for being here. I know, Carol. Hi, Carol Mastroianni. Welcome to the 19th episode of Who Are You? Who are you? I love the dun-na-na-na-na-na. I am so honored to have y'all here today and introduce my beautiful Australian friend, Meredith Sims. Meredith Sims, ladies and gentlemen, Meredith Sims, round the applause.
So good to be here.
Hi, welcome. I am so honored to have you here. And thank you, Carol, for connecting us. Now, we got business to do. We got business to do, Meredith. Hold on. We're going to hold our mouths right, everyone. We are so proud of ourselves in the green room. We are technology masters, right, Meredith?
Working on it.
Our technology masters. I am a technology master.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Okay. So we have a disclaimer because us ladies got to cover our tushes in this incorporated world right now. And actually, you know what, Meredith? I just upped our technology capabilities again. You don't have to do a darn thing because I am the hostess with the mostest.
Alrighty.
So Meredith is a beautiful would you say financial advisor?
I am a financial advisor, yeah.
She's a financial advisor for empowering women. And before we get into the technicalities of her gifts, we do have a disclaimer. Would you like me to read this, Meredith?
If you don't mind, I mean, I can, but if you might.
Well, I would love to hear your Australian
accent, all right.
if possible.
Yeah. We are covering our tushes, as Kristen said. Whatever we may speak about today, just so it's not an offer to buy or sell any security, and investments in securities may not be suitable for all investors because they involve risk and the potential loss of your initial investment. So always review risk factors before you invest and perform your own due diligence. That's always a good idea before considering an investment. Past performance is never an indication of what future results might be. And investment products, unlike cash, is not insurance. Annuity and annuity products are not FDIC insured or bank guaranteed or insured by the federal government and may lose value. And then just secondary to that, or not secondary, but second point is that any securities that I offer are offered through Cabot Lodge Securities, LLC, member of FINRA, SIPC, MSREB, and advisory services offered through CL Wealth Management, SEC registered. I am actually, my firm is Heartstrong Wealth Planning, and we are not controlled by or a subsidiary of Cabot Lodge Securities or CL Wealth Management, LLC. And that's it.
Great, we did it. I'm so proud of us.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so we can minimize this.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that disclaimer. I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm in a courtroom all of a sudden.
I know. It's Regulatory, what can I say? There's nothing warm and fuzzy about regulatory, but it is designed to protect people in this instance for the most part.
Okay, so our
Mhm.
tushes are officially covered.
Mhm.
Fantastic. Let's get to the heart. I love that you are that the name of your website is Heart Strong Wealth Planning. Because when I first saw it, I saw Heart Song because I'm a singer, and I used to do heart songs for people, and I'm like, oh no, it's Heart Strong. Okay, ladies, let's get this.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So when did you start? How did you start this?
You mean Heart Strong Wealth Planning or just
Yeah,
general?
because it feels like sorry, I'm a little bit psychic. It
Mhm.
feels like it was an evolutionary
Mhm.
journey to get
Mhm.
to this point, which feels very high level, very
Mhm.
conscious, um, but some bumps to get there, of course.
Mhm. Yeah, I think like everyone, I've been on my own journey, and I think as women we tend to, it's a journey in life, right? To get to that beautiful, congruent alignment with what we want to put out in the world and the difference we want to make and the contribution we want to make, and then what we're doing to make that happen. And so I went into the finance industry, really not wanting to be in such a dry,
Mm,
maybe old boys kind of environment.
mhm,
I wanted to do something creative. It's a second career for me. And so it took time for me to kind of feel really comfortable and in my own skin
mm,
in that in this industry, the financial services industry. And once I started to really see that I could make a difference and be true to myself in terms of what I wanted to, help women with and what I believed in and how I wanted to serve them, that's really when Heart Strong Wealth Planning came about because, heart, I believe it's really important that we connect to what's in our hearts outside of, the rules and the structures and whatever that we are brought up with and surrounded by. Strong because we do need a strong sense of self and financial foundation. Wealth because I believe that we are all, our birthright is a wealthy life in all
yes,
aspects of that. It's
yes.
just a journey to get there. And to support all of that, it helps to have some planning in place. So that's how the name came about. And I love it because it feels it is bringing together that alignment for me in this particular industry of what I want to do. That's the long answer.
Well, it's a beautiful answer, and I love that. Backstage, y'all, I'm an astrologer, as y'all know, so I had to find out. Hi, everybody in the chat. I had to find out what Meredith's birthday was. She is a Cancer. Now we don't know all the degrees and everything, but this. And are you a mom?
Sorry,
Do you have children?
I'm not. I don't have children.
I find that so amazing because when, a lot of women choose not to, but when
Mhm.
they do, they're usually birthing something
Mhm.
for the masses.
I have
So
noticed that.
it
Yeah.
feels like you're a big mama bear for
Mhm.
so many more by making that choice. And
Mhm.
thank you for that service because this is something that is so needed in the world because it was never provided for us in a way. So thank you for that. And what year did Heartstrong Wealth Planning begin?
Well, I went live with the website in 2017. I mean,
Oh,
I've been in the
wow.
industry for a much longer than that, and it was a journey, but it was really, I was operating just under my name, Sims Financial Services, which is not really as kind of warm and fuzzy as Heartstrong Wealth Planning. And actually, a coach of mine kind of saw there was a disconnect because it was, I still hadn't reached that alignment,
Mhm.
um, and of what I wanted to create. And so I rebranded and I rebranded a little earlier, but I mean, officially, I guess I went live in beginning of 2017 with that brand.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I mean, it seems like you were just kind of behind the scenes were you like in New York City in the stock market, or were you operating virtually?
Well, I was still providing services. I was doing more investment management and less financial planning. I didn't bring in the fee-for-service financial planning until, well, a little before Heartstrong Wealth Planning. And again, that was sort of really trying to get to this point of being of service and fully transparent, full transparency in how things are priced and, so that people know what's going on. And I had another point and it slipped my mind.
It's okay. I
Oh,
understand.
can I? Well, and so the other thing that happened is that I really became clear that everyone doesn't have to do this, but I became clear that this whole concept of sustainable investing, or really I prefer to say directing the money according to your values, investing your values. It's like that starfish analogy, it makes a difference for that one. I mean, the more people direct their money according to their values, the bigger the difference we can make. And so that was also bringing that in also helped me to really get clear about, what I was here to do.
Well, and it feels very heart-based, as in your evolutionary journey of witnessing where the empowerment needed to go.
Because I've been there.
Right. Well, I mean, that's the best life experience. Is you can't put that in a book, but you have. Well, not in a book, but in your services.
Yeah. Oh, I have put it in a chapter, actually, in a book.
Oh, you have. Oh my goodness. What's your book?
It was I've contributed chapters to 2 collaborative books, and of course I'm going to completely mess up their names just because I'm sitting here. They're on my website, but one was it was about creativity and for wholehearted women over 50, and so I did a chapter on inspired wealth that talked a little bit about my story, and then provided some exercises, some tools that people could go through. And the other one was in a book about abundance in all different areas I don't know.
Okay.
I should know the names off by heart, but
it's on your website, which is heartstrongwealthplanning.com. So
Carol just posted it. Wholehearted Wonder Women, courage, confidence, and creativity at any age, not just over 50.
Yes, any age. That's right, because I'm almost 50.
And Wealth Code, Sacred Strategies for Abundance. Okay, they were the 2 collaborative books, and I have.
Oh, thank you, Carol. She's got your back. She's got your back, and your front, and your left, and your right.
Yes,
I love it. So I went to your website and I was like, oh my goodness, I need this woman's, because so many women in the spiritual community, especially, sell ourselves short. So when, because of programming, because of society, all the blah, 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 blah. It just seems so archaic and dinosaur, and we're just going to put it all over there. And this is a process. So when someone comes to you, say a small business owner like myself, what are some of the first things that you require or look at, or walk us through that process, please?
Well, the way I normally approach any new kind of engagement, if you will, and I work with a lot of small business owners. That is a large proportion of the women that I work with. The first thing is a conversation, and really to find out what is going on, what you need, where you're at, which in and of itself I find can be quite helpful for people, because it's that first step to obtaining some clarity. What I've noticed over time. But, and I think it's particularly hard for business owners, but maybe not just business owners, that sometimes the personal finance side of things, it's just kind of over there.
It's like we don't want to look at it.
Right.
Is that what?
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, that's like there's some stuff under the rug that has to
Mhm.
get cleared out.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and then we have a conversation, and I write up what I've understood about, the first question I ask is, what is the purpose of money for you?
Mm,
Because, you know, we can do all the right things, save our money. There's rules there are money rules, right? To pay attention to, but we have to know what job we want it to do.
mm,
Like, what kind of life are you trying to build? What's important to you? It's different for everyone.
right.
And so that's the first question I ask, and then we talk about goals and the current reality, if you will, and then I'll suggest some next steps. And some of those next steps can potentially be made with or without me, and then give whoever I'm speaking with an idea of what services I think will support them,
Mhm.
and what the investment would be for those services.
Amazing. So
Yeah.
it's so you I love in the first question that you ask, what is the purpose of money? And then, I'm sure like a lot of emotion and counseling can come up for your first time people, but the intention of the purpose, it like takes it from here to the level higher.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just seeing you holding women's hands and walking them through the process is what
Mm-hmm.
the visual is that I'm getting, and you do it so gracefully.
Thank you.
You weren't expecting that one, were you?
I was not. I was not. Well, I feel very strongly, I suppose. I mean, if I'm, completely honest in myself about the work that I do,
Mhm.
what I most love to do is really help just kind of take the blinders off, I guess.
Sure.
Um, and so that, the women I'm working with, I mean, they start to dream a bit bigger. They start to feel more confident. And it's not necessarily, I mean, you can't, like, well, maybe you can, depending on your belief system, but there are still sort of practical steps to take in the
Right,
realm of money. Um, but you have to know why you're taking them. Like, what do you really want to create in your life?
right, the intention behind it.
Yeah.
That's the
Mhm.
higher, and just asking like, well, what's the purpose of money? Because a lot of people have so many different beliefs.
Mhm.
Some are like, oh, I just view it as a way of a source of energy, and when it flows, it's that's where it
Mhm.
goes.
Mhm.
But really anchoring in a higher intention with it,
Mhm.
and that provides a safe place for the opportunity to explore
Mhm.
and take the adventure of investing.
Yes.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I'm having a deja vu there. That's interesting. That's interesting. Meredith Carroll has posted Meredith's calming, grounded presence combined with her vast knowledge is especially helpful for women going through transitions. Ooh, this is a big one, such as divorce.
Mm.
Have a lot of, I mean, that's a huge thing. I mean, I know some friends that have recently gotten divorced,
Mhm.
and they did have like so blind. So it's
Mm.
like, whoa, how do you approach? I mean, you obviously look at people's portfolios. You
Mhm. Mhm.
say, okay, let's just look at what is here right now. But
Mhm.
so many women giving their power away in that financial dynamic of a marriage.
Mhm.
Um, what are some insights that you could share with us in this now?
Mhm. Thank you, Carol, for your comment. Well, I would say that quite often, I mean, obviously every marriage is different and dynamics are different, but I think that women often feel quite vulnerable at that point in time. And in particular, if they haven't been engaged in the money, financial side of things, I mean, that they can feel vulnerable regardless. So they really need someone to lead. I think it's helpful for someone to lead them through the process. And, there's a lot of paperwork. I mean, just paperwork in the separation can be overwhelming. That in and of itself can be overwhelming. There's that sense of vulnerability and sometimes hopelessness. And, like there can be a sense of not feeling capable. And so to me, it's really just, helping someone go through that process by being supportive and helping them to grow their confidence, to understand what's happening with their money and, understand what they're doing so that they feel like they can have meaningful conversations around their money. It's a process for sure. And to your earlier point, I think that, money sometimes is our representation of value, how we value ourselves in the world. And you said it yourself. You see it quite often, like underpricing.
Oh my goodness. No, I'm like, oh no, I just got goosebumps. I'm like, oh no, she's calling my spade out. Because I mean, it's the value of it and it's the worth of it. And, in the current economical dynamics of the world, there's a lot of fear, a lot of trepidation. And for me, I've really built my business up a lot after some personal trauma. But I've done really great this last year in building my business. And I've contemplated raising my prices. And because of the inflation and everything going on, I'm trying to stick my Taurus heels in and not do it, even though I know I'm worth so much more. So what do I do, Meredith?
Well, I think it's a common challenge. And one of our former coaches, Carol knows this, she would say, just do it. Just stretch a little. She would say, stretch, but don't splatter. And then
stretch, but don't splatter.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
In terms of your pricing. Yeah. But I think, I think here's an alternative way of looking at it. Listen, it's challenging. I'm not going to say that it's not challenging, because we came here to do work that helps
service
people, and we want to help everyone. And that's the challenge. We want to help the people that don't have money. We want to help the people that do have money. However, if you're not honoring your worth, then how are you mirroring that for the people you serve? And
oh God, I'm getting my butt kicked on my own show. I knew it was coming.
I'm sorry. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that.
No, I am so.
I don't mean you specifically. I mean you generically.
I'm owning my shift, because that's part of transparency, right? I don't want to be a hypocrite in anything that I do. And I don't even know if we've talked. I know we talked in the green room about the power of the transparency that you provide in your service.
Yeah. Well, and just on that kind of money piece, the more money you make, the more you can gift, right?
Right.
And there's nothing to say that you can't, alongside one. I'm saying you generically, not you, Kristen.
Oh no, it's okay. But this is really this is so supportive, and I'm so grateful and humbled with your wisdom and your support, because this is your magic that you provide for your clients. Do you call them clients?
Do I call them what?
Clients.
I do.
Okay.
I don't know what else I would call them.
I know.
Most of them are friends, actually.
I know, right? My girlfriends, everybody, I know. It's like, oh no, we love each other. Okay, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But this is huge, and
Mhm,
thank you so much.
mhm.
Keep calling it out.
Yeah, I mean, I've struggled with it. I think a lot of women who are in any kind of healing or transformational or wellness space, or maybe in other industries as well, I don't know. I mean, struggle with that, but we can make bigger impact in the world if we have more money to gift to others, and run have a sort of sponsorship for women who can't afford something, or run a smaller program that is more accessible, or
Oh, I love that. That's like and I teach this in my prayers and whatnot for the ascension of consciousness, that it's a yes and. Because if
mhm,
it's supporting your foundation,
mhm,
like you said, you've got more to give.
mhm. Yeah, yeah. But it's hard. It is sometimes hard to say, what do you do? Say no to someone. I actually, if it's all right to share,
Absolutely,
um,
absolutely.
I started a small group program, women's money circle. It's a lower price point. I mean, obviously, price points are all relative, right? But it's just a group of 6 women who, we go through different aspects of finance, and then the different aspects of the value and the emotional, and pull it all together. But ultimately, I'm writing a book, and I would love to get that out as well. And I don't know. I mean, I want to help everyone, but I can't help everyone if I.
If you're spread too thin, because
Exactly.
that's the other thing, being a small business, I'm my secretary, I'm my
Mhm,
scheduler, I'm my web designer, I'm hosting other beautiful goddesses on the planet changing the world,
mhm.
okay, and then I got to do social marketing, I got to do this. So when I mean, do you encounter that a lot with small business owners, that they're spread thin? I mean, because it happens easily, right?
Yeah, yeah. No, I do encounter that a lot, and I think that's one of the reasons that often the personal finance piece is put aside.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, often a small business owner is investing back in the business. B, they're doing a lot of other things, pursuing what is their genius gift in the world. And, I mean, looking at money and looking at cash flow, or savings, or any of those things, it can sometimes be challenging, depending on, where someone is at. And,
Right.
and, and definitely, yeah, me, myself, the bottle, what is it? The bottle washer, the cook, the bottle washer, and whatever.
Oh, I don't think I know that
Oh,
saying.
it might be an Australian expression, which I obviously
Oh,
cannot
so you're talking
understand.
about women?
Yes, yeah. I was just joking with a friend about this recently. Yeah, how we
Oh,
need to learn ourselves.
I mean, and humor is so important in such a tender and vulnerable time and subject.
Mm, mhm,
I mean, we're all experiencing this, is, the elephant in the room, the inflation,
mhm,
the this, the that, and the housing market, the interest rates, the
mhm,
da, 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 da. How has it been navigating your clients through this economical terrain?
mhm. You know, I think for the most part, um, the biggest fear that comes up is, around volatility,
Mm,
with investments. And so that's something I talk them through, because really, for the most part, we're looking at longer term savings, and you have to kind of step back from the media a little bit, because the media is very fear dominated. And then the other aspect of it, I think, people sometimes have a bit of a fear that they're overspending or things are a bit out of control, and they're probably noticing that more because, prices are higher. And that's where coming back down to some basics, which is not always what people want to do, but of looking at, well, what's coming in, what's going out. How are you using your money? Are you using it for its, highest and best purpose? And if you have clarity around that, then you can make some adjustments when you need to. And those adjustments might mean being a bit more on top of sending out invoices, being a bit more on top of, finding another fun way to use your money if, for example, you're spending a lot on eating out. And that's another piece of it. I do walk my clients through or have them go through a values questionnaire in terms of what are their top 5 values. I mean, a lot of people are familiar with that, but it's always good to look at that and then to see how their money use aligns with that. And sometimes you can find areas where, it's just like a habit, or it's something I signed up for 2 years ago and I've never canceled it. And so really kind of just getting down into a little more granular detail, but doing it from, again, the lens of what supports you, what you care about, and approaching it from that way, if that makes sense.
Yes, it totally does. So you fine tooth comb out all the things that need to get looked at, addressed, dealt with, and exited.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of people do eating out. I love to cook, and I love, I love to imbibe my meals with my consciousness and whatnot, even though I'm an intermittent faster. But eating out is, I mean, unless you're going to a really nice restaurant, like I highly recommend everybody watching this stop going to fast food. Because that's a way, in my opinion, that we can change our world by putting our money, pun intended, where our mouth is. Which I did use in the green room. I was like, that's going to have to come out. But I've had that feeling for a lot of my life, and how we can change the world is put our money where it matters most. So just bringing that awareness, because you're taking the blinders off and putting glasses on, the work that you're doing and supporting women with.
Yes.
How often do you do these? First of all, how many programs do you have for women?
Well, I really only have that one program, and then just financial planning services for, depending on what people need. Do they need a complete plan for their life? Do they need advice? So it depends. And I mean, you asked the question about transparency, and when someone does a consult with me, like a complimentary call, I'll let them know once we've been through that, I'll find out what it is that I think will support them. Then I'll let them know, usually a couple of different options that they can with, and how much that investment will be for me to support them in that. And I might have some other ideas that they can run with on their own. So it's personalized. But in terms of like true programs, the Money Circle is the only program I have at the moment.
Wonderful. And do you cap that at a certain amount of participants, or?
Well, I have been, I say it's for up to 6 women, and which I know is quite small, but I feel like the intimacy is quite valuable. And, over time, who knows, maybe I'll decide it could be larger, but I think that's a good number for people to get, their questions in and to feel heard.
Well, and I know you don't know astrology or the Christopher Witecki step system, but 6 is perfect because it's a Venus ruled number.
Oh, okay. Well, it's 7 with me, but I like that.
I'm literally in that 7, a 16. But the 6 is in there. I love that.
Mm,
I love that.
cool. Yeah.
Now, in your, promoting and things of your business, do you I mean, obviously, people can find you at your heartstrongwealthplanning.com.
Hmm.
So is everything you do internet-based or online? Do you do things in person? What
Hmm.
does that dynamic look like?
I mostly do things, I mostly meet with clients via Zoom. I mean, I'm Atlanta based, and so I do meet with some clients in Atlanta.
You're in Atlanta. You're only 4 hours from me.
And I mean, I can do speaking gigs and group programs in person if there is demand.
Mm.
But because I serve clients in other states, I just, I like the ability to use a Zoom meeting to meet with folks.
No, and that's interesting because, I mean, my reference for finances was when I did a Broadway tour with Anne Margaret, and,
Nice.
we went all over the 50 states, and
Mm-hmm.
God, my tax returns were a nightmare
Mm-hmm.
that year because each state has different laws and regulations, but you
Mm-hmm.
are informed on all of those, or
Well, the way it works is, the company that I am registered or hold my licenses with is SEC registered, which basically means that covers the different states. And then I just have to go through appointment process, which is typically very simple. I'm already in quite a few different states, but from an advisory service point of view, it's quite simple to help in
that's good
another
to
state.
know.
Yeah.
There's something simple with state to state laws? Mm,
Well, compared to, yeah, I mean, it's all relative, right?
yeah,
The bar
exactly.
for simplicity.
We're all relatives, humanity. We're going for unity consciousness here.
Yeah.
In your counseling of,
Oh, can I just say one more thing about that?
oh yeah,
Because I think it's relevant. I mean, one of my goals has been to be location independent because I like to travel.
I,
And
I knew you were gonna say that. I'm like, okay.
And so, the whole idea of being able to have a virtual connection with my clients is, part and parcel of that. To not be restricted as to which part of the country I'm helping someone in.
Absolutely. It's
Mhm.
it's freedom. It's
So
independence.
yeah, so it's been quite an intentional direction for me.
I think it's great. I mean,
Hmm.
and I mean, honestly, we all learned how mobile we can be, which is the paradox of 2020.
Indeed, indeed.
This is nice and that backfired. I love it. I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, let's find out how flexible we are, America." Well, humanity. I mean, hello.
Yeah.
So, okay, I love that you love to travel. I'm like, I see beautiful beaches in your future.
Me
Like
too.
you're a Cancer or something, Meredith. You're a Cancer or something. Um, so what is something that you could offer my audience in initial advice? Something that
Hmm.
would infringe upon your price points or
Hmm.
whatever, but something to encourage or bring some more consciousness around our
Hmm.
value and the the authentic and transparent intention of money.
Mm.
Because it's gotten such a bad rap, especially
Mhm.
in the spiritual community, which I'm
Mhm.
obviously a large part of. But in this apocalyptic time,
Mhm.
assist us in removing that veil,
Mm.
which is Scorpio season, which is right now. It says I got to get it in there
Yeah.
to assist,
Mhm.
because the opposite of Scorpio is Taurus, which is me,
Mhm.
which is what rules money, wealth, earth, and
Mhm.
resources.
Mhm. You mean like physically what I can give them, or you want me to just give some ideas now?
If you wouldn't mind giving some
Oh, okay.
ideas, whether they're just ideas or
Mhm,
something physical.
mhm.
I don't, what's your, I love your magic.
Well, I have some links. I didn't actually. I probably should have sent them to you in advance. But I think I think really it's pretty simple in terms of where you start, and you start with what is the purpose of money for you. Like really take a deep dive into what that is. And for most people, it falls into the area of freedom or security. But what does that look like to you in your life? I mean, what is security to you? It's different for different people. And if you're in a partnership, you and you have a conversation with your partner about that, you'll probably find that you have different perspectives, and it can be healthy and helpful to understand those different perspectives, which can come from what you got taught by your family or what you've inherited, which sometimes people instinctively kind of are aware of. So just getting some clarity around that. And then once you understand that purpose, what are your kind of goals in life? And we talk a lot about financial goals, retire at whatever, but retirement is it's a bit of a bizarre concept these days. I mean, particularly for people who are in business, most of the business
I'm
owners I
looking
know,
for the
they're
way.
never going to retire.
Till the day I die, Meredith.
They're just going to keep on serving people, maybe in different capacities. So it's an old time concept, but ultimately it's about what financial foundation do you need in place to support what you want to do in the future and also live your life now, because you can't just put everything off. So getting clarity around that, I mean, anyone can do that at home, go through that, and then once you have all that, look and see what are the values. And one of the exercises, I have it somewhere on my website. I'm the worst promoter.
I this is why I'm doing this show. This is why I do this. Worst marketer and promoter, and so many people offer help, and then I've got too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah.
It's like, wait.
Well, so I did the values exercise because I created it as a set of tools for one of the chapters that I wrote, and top 5 values, and then I looked at where all my money went, and to see, if was it a fit, was it a no, was it a maybe. And one of the things that I noticed, which was kind of at first a little startling for me, speaking about eating out, is that eating out with friends, I didn't see that it checked any of my values.
Purpose. Oh, values. Okay.
Yeah. And then I thought, well, that makes me a bad friend immediately. But then I realized it wasn't about the eating out, because I find dining, and it doesn't really matter to me. For me, it's about the ambiance and the adventure and spontaneity. I mean, like just things that support my values. So it could be coffee and a croissant, or it could be, it doesn't have to be like yeah. And yet I have friends for whom, who are real foodies, and that probably really matches their values. So there's no judgment around it. It's just getting clear about, is your money doing the best job it can do for you right now? So a lot of those initial kind of steps can be taken, and then you can start to look at, where is it going? Is it going there? And does that really support where I want to go? Maybe not. Does that make sense?
It absolutely does. And it's the clarification
Mm-hmm.
that facilitates the proper alignment.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
It's really simple. And you are so calming and
Mm-hmm.
like nurturing in the way that you deliver the message of, well, it's okay, no
Mm-hmm.
judgment, because judgment is so boring, isn't it? God, we're so hard on ourselves.
Let's ditch judgment.
Exactly, exactly. Oh
Mhm.
my goodness. That is, I love it because as you were explaining the value, I was like, oh, I'm like little value boxes. Okay,
Mhm.
I love that idea. And
Mhm.
it's very simple. That is something that we all can do after this call.
Mhm.
What's the value in it? Does it make me feel worthy? And I imagine the worth piece can get
Mhm.
quite tender for all of us.
Mhm. Yeah, I think it's. I don't think it's an. an uncommon concern or challenge for women in particular is that the sense of worthiness and belief and trust in themselves, and that's where I think the connection with the value and the pricing comes into play as well.
Well, yeah, and I mean, did you go to school for psychology? Because in people's belief matrix, oh,
Mm-hmm.
and well, I would imagine, from all of your life experience in the industry and your own evolutionary process, that was what could teach you more than any Rockefeller made psychology book anyway.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But it's really, removing all the misnomers in the beliefs around money.
Mm-hmm.
It's an energy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, for me, it was two things. It was getting really granular and like kind of paying a lot of attention because I had to what was coming in, going out, and at the same time developing my own sense of self and who I was, and it's not that I have my own kind of way of looking at things, and just kind of bringing those two together
Mm.
was helpful.
Well, and that's the heart. I love that you're like bringing it together, and that's the heart. That's
Mm-hmm.
the heart of the issue.
Mm-hmm.
It's what do you believe, and what is your sense of worth and your value, and
Mm-hmm.
what do you deserve? You know.
Yes. Yeah. What do you deserve and what are you allowing yourself to receive?
Ah, oh, God, Meredith, you're kicking my astro here. My astro. I mean, it's just like my generation is Pluto and Libra, and we'll let ourselves be walked all over like a freaking doormat for the sake of freaking balance and not rustling any feathers. And it's like
Mm.
you're Pluto and Virgo, where you're like, no, we're gonna organize it. We're gonna get clarity around it
Mhm.
so we can transform it. It's a good
Right.
cleanup job. So, what you
Mhm.
wanted to offer some links and in our private chat, because I don't know if you can post in the public chat. Do you have that option on
I
where you
don't think so.
okay. Do you see in our window? We're doing some tech talk. Don't
I
worry, everybody. Our
see I just saw it, the
we,
private chat.
we
Um,
are technology masters. We deserve, and it's a
yeah, so I can put a link, well, a link if someone wants to have a call with me, and I can put a link to the Money Circle, which I don't have the next one scheduled yet. I don't have it like instantly available here. I wish I
no,
had
but
the,
that's happening. That's happening for a reason. That's happening for a reason.
okay, all right, because I otherwise I could have put the link to the resources for the values questionnaire, but yeah, didn't think
You
to.
think about whatever you would like to share because
I don't want to get distracted. I don't want to distract. I don't want to derail the call. So if I can, quickly find that link, I will put it in there.
okay, perfect. And I almost copied the whole thing. I'm just going to pop this in the chat for you. There we go. Boom.
Okay.
It's in there. It's like Prego. It's like Prego. It's all in there.
You are so fun.
Have you lived in the United States to know that reference enough?
Play-Doh. I know
Prego.
what Play-Doh is.
Well, Play-Doh, but Prego is an Italian sauce, and they're like, it's in there.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I
I
love it.
found it. I think it's in here. Let me. Sorry.
Oh, no, you're doing great.
You just.
Great.
I lost. I don't know. Do you ever have multiple windows open?
Uh, Yes. And then I get overwhelmed, overstimulated, distracted, ungrounded, and then I'm like, "That's it. I'm exhausted."
I shut all of my windows before this started, and but then of course I had to open some windows to find, because I
Well,
normally have way
they
too many windows open.
they can find you, they can find all of these links through your website, which has been up the entire stream,
Yeah,
right?
not all of the links are actually on.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, I'm putting them here in the chat for everyone
Thank you.
to find you. And then are you on social media at all?
I am. I have a business Facebook page, which I don't think anyone ever goes to, but
So
you can go to it.
we're not going there. Hey, listen, from one sister to another, we are excellent at marketing ourselves.
And I'm on LinkedIn, so I post on LinkedIn, um, and anything I post on LinkedIn also goes to my business page. And I also have a personal page, of course. I just don't post any business material there because of the industry requirements. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I only use social media for my business now because of, being burnt at the stake. Um,
Understood.
it is good. It is good. So LinkedIn is an excellent way to find you and connect
Mhm.
as well.
Yes. Yeah.
And then are you international? That's the next question. Do you do
Um, there are some limitations, international limitations. I mean, I do have a client in Australia, but to be honest, I haven't really looked into whether I can do planning work outside of the US. I have an
makes
investment client in Australia, but
that's great. Americans need more consciousness around where our money is going.
mhm. Yeah. I mean, I'm really just focused in the US, because until I, maybe bring out my book, and then that will be.
Sure. Well, and that would get complicated because, like, I mean, things are changing. Thank you. Do you focus on digital currency at all, or like silver or gold or?
I don't typically focus on, I do not focus on digital currency. And, I might use like a fund that has gold or some kind of
Okay.
other natural resources. But for the most part, my clients are saving for retirement. And, I wouldn't say I'm a conservative. I would say I'm prudent with how their money is invested. And so if they want to do something on the side related to crypto and so on, I'm not the person to help them with that.
Okay. Well, that's super helpful in, what people are looking for. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
that may be a priority for some and not
Mm-hmm.
others. And it's good to know where you prioritize and what your
Mm-hmm.
gifts are so that we can appropriately direct people.
Yeah.
Um,
So just on that point, I mean, what I'm particularly interested in, or help clients with, is we'll do a different type of values questionnaire, which is, what they care about. And then that can guide how they're invested. So obviously we live in a global world. It's not perfect. You can't hit every metric in terms of if someone's interested in health and equal opportunity and diversity and environment. I mean, it's just, but we can do what we can to
less
get
is more.
this. Mhm.
Less is more. Simplicity is
Mhm.
well, and it feels like that's a very clarifying point because if it gets too mucky, the transparency just gets clouded.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'll have a conversation with someone, if they're trying to remove like meat producers, for example. That might be at the cost of something else, and it might be at the cost of having a fully diverse
Mm.
portfolio, which is what one typically has from a risk management perspective.
Well, and that they would cancel each other out
Mm-hmm.
in the
Mm-hmm.
initial fine-tune code process.
Yeah, yeah. It's a conversation,
Yeah.
and most people understand that as well.
Yeah.
And not everyone wants to get that granular, so that's fine as well.
Well, yeah, I'm sure. Have you ever run into people that just don't want to change? And you're like, well, why did you call me?
No, I think most people these days approach me because they've read what I've said on the site, and so they feel there's an alignment there. And it could be, it's a spectrum. So
Right.
it might be, I don't want to make any changes that might impact my performance, or it might be to the other degree is I'm okay with impacting performance if I'm closer to what I believe in. And then there's all the places in between.
So many in between places.
Mm-hmm.
Goodness. Wow, Meredith. I'm so honored and grateful to have you on my show. Thank you so much.
Well, I thank you. You're just a fabulous host. You're so much fun and so easy to talk to, and I
It's
really
funny.
appreciate it.
I get nervous too, and then I'm like, "Oh, that's right. I just have to be myself." That's that's the number one job for all of us,
Yeah, and
Be
you
fun.
made that very easy for me, so thank you.
Thank you. Well, you are such a bright light, and I love the beautiful mama bear money workings that you are gifting the world with. Do you have anything else that would like to be expressed or shared?
Um, well, I would just say that as women, we have a pretty important role in this world. And that I believe, and I think I said this to you earlier, Kristen, that I believe that we're all here to live like deeply fulfilled lives. And it might take us a while to get there. And being supported with your money can help you in that process. So whether it's with me or with anyone, or just doing the exercises that I talked about, just pay more attention to it. And yeah.
I love it. Well, I need to practice some of those exercises. And me personally, I've worked every day this week and I will be. So I'm going to go to my pool and restore right now.
Oh, good on you. Nice.
I thank you. And what an honor and what a gift. And thank you, Carol, again for
Thank you,
connecting.
Carol.
Oh, my goodness. And hey, folks,
Carol
go
is the best.
to Meredith's beautiful website, heartstrongwealthplanning.com. Book a consultation. She is an absolute delight to be with. Thank you with all my heart, Meredith.
Thank you.
And hey, everybody, if I'm still casting for the rest of 2024, so if you've got some light you need to get out to the world, contact me at kristenwriter.com and we'll get you booked. All right, everybody. Thank you so very
Thank
much
you.
for joining
Thank you
us.
so much. Yes.
Amazing episode.
You're a great host.
Who are you?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, we have to do the, okay. I'll let you do it. You do a better job.
But I love that you joined me. It's like, oh, yeah, let's do it. All right. Okay, everybody. And Meredith, stay on so we can talk backstage.
Okay. All right.
Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Please like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube. All right, my friends.